Hi guys, welcome. Michael here, ChiCityYaker, and what I want to do today is share with you how to utilize 3D imaging along with side imaging on the Raymarine Element. And I think this pretty much, at least the principle, can apply to any other fish finder that has this capability. But on the Raymarine Element, a lot of people don't know how to really fully kind of utilize 3D. And so what I want to share with you is how I utilize it in my fishing and share this with you. And if there's any questions at any point, leave it in the comments below. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and let's jump into this video. Now, I'm doing my best here to capture the fish finder screen, and I pray that it's going to come out okay. This is not easy to do. I've kind of made a janky setup here to be able to do this. All right, so let's talk about how I set up the screen. First of all, 99% of the time, as you see here, the way I'm using the screen is with a three-way split. I'm going to have the chart plotter on one side, and then I'm going to have the 3D and the side imaging on two split screens on top of each other. And I do this by design. Now, if you look at it right now, you'll see that my 3D is on top, and you'll see the side imaging is below it. And the reason I do this is so that I get this image of a straight in line. Even though they're two separate things, if you look at it, it almost looks like a two split screen where you have the chart plotter on the left, and then what essentially looks like a side imaging slash 3D as one. Does that make sense? Hopefully I'm explaining that properly. The reason I do this is because with side imaging and 3D, I'm using this not necessarily to look for fish, but for structure. And I'm going to circle back around here because there's actually a submerged, the lake I'm on right now used to be a quarry, and I believe they sunk a couple of cranes in the lake as well, and it gets pretty deep. It gets down to like 80-90 feet at some points in the water here. I'm going to circle back around and go over it, and on my chart plotter I have a waypoint assigned to it, so we're going to try and go back over it. And while I get myself in position to do this, let me kind of explain how I set this up with the 3D. Now with 3D, one major thing I would suggest is use the gray background. It just pops out really well compared to black or the white. Things really contrast off it really well. And I would recommend using the gray as the background for your 3D imaging. This is specific to the Raymarine Element, of course. And then the other thing I do is I put it in above view. And the reason I put it in above view is because I want it to kind of mirror what's happening with the side imaging, right? Side imaging is giving us essentially like a top-down, out to the side perspective, and I want the 3D to mirror that, so that when I do come over some structure, I can see where its placement is. Now the side imaging is going to show off to the side how far. In combination with the 3D now, what I get to do is see not only how far it is off to the sides, but how vertical, right? Like, does it stand up? How much is it standing up? How wide it is. In side imaging, we'll see items, we'll see things that are off to the side, but we don't really have an idea of just how big of a school that might be, or how big of a boulder or chunk rocks that may be. And we're coming up over this thing right here. It should be coming over here any second now. It looks like there it is to our left. You see it right there? We have it all on the left side. You see the side imaging? We're off. It's essentially a pretty wide spread. We're looking at up to 40 feet off to our left is where we see it all. And with the 3D imaging, we get to see just how wide that is, right? That's a lot of area that this object is sitting in. Side imaging tells us where it's at, right? Roughly 40 feet to the side. But 3D will tell you like how much space it's taking up. And that's really how I utilize 3D. I'm not looking necessarily for fish, and sure, you could use this for identifying bait balls and how big bait balls are, but I really use this for in conjunction with side imaging to see just how big that structure, the chunk rocks, or whatever it may be, just how big it is in the water, right? And I could flip it too, and I'll do this now. We'll flip it into another perspective. Let's get a follow course here. All right, and I'll circle back around another time. We'll go back around here real quick. We'll go to just a two split screen, just because I want to give you guys a better perspective of everything. Let's go back to follow again. Here's the follow screen. Now we start to see the imaging right here. That's a crane. We got more of it. We're basically over it right now, right? So we see the crane off to our left. Part of it's over here. It's very wide, and that's what 3D will do for you. It'll tell you, right? When we looked at this on the side imaging, we just saw where it was at off to the side. 3D will help us give us the actual spacing on it. And I don't want to kind of sound like a broken record here, but that's really how I implement this and find it to be kind of like its best use while you're fishing. Some other things to mention with the 3D, the standard 300 kilohertz on it. If you go down to hypervision, I kind of feel like the imaging is a little overcooked for some reason. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's something I need to figure out, but I just feel like you see the imaging coming in now, it's very, very dark. Yeah, for some reason 3D with the 1 kilohertz, I don't know. I don't like the kind of signal it gives me. So I just stick with 350. 350 is more than good enough to just give you the idea of what we're trying to look for here, and that's essentially the structure and its placement within this 3D space. All right, a couple of the settings you might want to adjust for your 3D are going to be color target by, you can do two things here, by depth or intensity. Either one works. It's just a matter of kind of like how your brain will interpret things a little bit better. You could do intensity. In fact, we'll do that and we'll do a pass over it. You could also increase the target size here. All right, so 5 is kind of default. You could go 7, just a little bit bigger. I find 5 to be just fine. You see it all over here. And it's starting to represent right here. Now, with this perspective, it's not like a 1-for-1. If I change the perspective on this to go above, it's a little bit better. And we see that right here is where on the 3D, and because of the auto range is changing by itself, but we see where it is right there. Hopefully that kind of shares with you how to kind of implement the 3D along with your side imaging on your Raymarine Element to use it for the best possible fishing experience and to help you identify those structures and or fish, specifically if you got big bait balls, maybe you're in salt and you got bigger fish. It could be a situation where it would work. Either way, that's how I use it, and if you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. Hopefully, I pray this video footage came out good. It was a lot of work to kind of get this set up and to do it, and let me know what you guys think about it. All right, thank you for watching. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace, y'all.